Hey guys, it's Mindy Linscomb here, your host of the Something New show, where we like to learn how to live a life worth celebrating. And I probably have the funniest guest with me today. I have been laughing for days. We kind of got to be together for a conference thing. And we're talking too much, and it's been a lot of fun. People are probably like, shh, Mindy, Jordan, Phil, stop talking. But we're having a good time, and I'm so glad to have my friend Phil Robbins with us. Thanks for being here today.
Super pumped to be here.
I know, inside a bridal shop in Colorado. Yeah. Like, what? And you're flying in from Southern Cal, and you're here in Colorado in a bridal shop. I love it.
I love it.
I can't wait to introduce you to him real quickly before we get this conversation going. Get your smiles ready, because you're going to laugh a little bit. But Phil Robbins is a lover of Jesus, people, and all things motorsports. So this is pretty fascinating. He is also a husband to Sarah, and he has two amazing little boys, Gabriel and Judah, and he is the owner of several successful international businesses. And through his work, and he's an ordained minister, but he's also has very unique gifts, and one of them I might say is comedy, to help others, not only to just be better people, but he also likes to share his faith with them. His heart's passion is to help men grasp their full potential in Christ so that they can have effective roles as husbands, fathers, and warriors. And he likes to help men walk through their lives with conquering the spirits given to them through Jesus Christ. So I love how centralized your faith is in all that you do, because you that is like your number one thing. But I love that you're actually not with Christians most of the time. You're loving on all types of people, and specifically in the motocross world. But I gotta say, something that you did not put in your bio here is that you are the right hand to a pretty powerhouse woman. And for those of people that don't know, I got to know your wife first. Yeah. And Sarah Robbins is just somebody I really look up to in her business, in her network marketing world. I mean, she's like several $1 million, what does she do? $1 billion of business a year in her company?
Over $1 billion a year.
Over $1 billion a year. Okay. So, no big deal. And I just got to start personally here. What my husband and I really were drawn to when we met you guys is just how amazing both of your strengths couple one another. And it's rare to meet other people where like maybe the wife is a little bit more forward facing and the person that people know strong and all this stuff. But really, actually, she's also just as successful because she has this really strong husband too. So that's definitely something that inspired Jordan and I when we met you guys. And I want to say thank you, because it's a very similar, shift for us to look at how you model your business and how we model ours. And so I just want to say thank you for being an inspiration to us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Seriously. And just, you're farther along in your journey with her maybe running in her lane and you finding your lane, and your lane is insanely cool, like way cool. And so like, we're still figuring out, all the ins and outs and whose role is what in our exact marriage situation, but we are inspired by you guys. I'd love to have you start out by talking about, okay, at what point did you say, okay, you're going to sell your business to support your wife and hers? And then how long did it take before you're like, okay, this is what I'm really excited about? And you kind of start your own journey.
Well, it was interesting because it wasn't like we just sold the company so that I could be home, because our passion has always been, growing leaders, and Sarah was a teacher.
Yeah.
So when we started actually traveling and building together, it was kind of like this organic process where, if you fast forward even between like the first year and the first 4 years of us actually building our business, I would fly back from Nashville after we had maybe done these 2-day events, and I would come back to a blizzard and work for 2 to 3 days. So it was always my passion.
You were doing both.
Yeah. And I loved it. all the way up. So,
that's what I would tell people of Jordan too. I'm like, it's not like he didn't ever participate. He was definitely running side by side.
Because we loved both.
Yeah.
So like the transition, but God really put on my heart that we were going to kind of do all these things really overseas and then stateside as far as serving others, building orphanages with Missions Me, which was obviously really awesome. So like when we started our business, it was a vehicle for us to really walk out and be able to fund the things that God put on our heart.
Wow.
So like that was a transition and finding purpose in that. And that's how I ended up actually writing my book and really going through the process of, really pouring into Sarah too, as she had transferred, because we had all these little miracles lining up. Like Sarah's a kindergarten teacher. So when she ended up getting this job right in the district that we were living in, that didn't just happen. She got a job almost an hour and a half away. We got her entire classroom all set up, and then we got a phone call. So there was all these things happening right when our business was coming to us, and just these really incredible moments that we had, prayed for but didn't know how they were going to happen. So that's kind of how the transition.
And how long ago was that?
That was probably now like 16 years ago.
So she was a teacher like me, which is, I think, something we bonded about. But
teachers rock.
Yeah,
you guys are organized and you make everything simple.
Yes, very easy to understand, and you can. Oh, this is step by step what you got to do next. So she starts running this company, but you also had your construction company.
Yep.
And you're just simultaneously, doing the hard thing and working your butts off, and then like. How far along were you? Like, was it 10 years later that you decided?
No, we kind of like traveled together and everything too. So it was like this organic, as the business was even growing, that I'm able to step away from my company and fill in more, kind of like you and Jordan. It's like, hey, I have this event here, but then we're going to go over there. But even as you're growing, he was there to support you and kind of fill in these other areas. So it really happened. But then, the Lord really put on my heart, as we were transitioning even the business, that transition period. So like that was the most interesting thing, to have that transition be smooth, but it wasn't like we just quit. It was probably a 2-year process
of slowly.
So I would say probably like 4 years into our business.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so fast forward to today, you guys leave, where you had been working, and you are planted in the gorgeous Dana Point community in Southern California, and your business, your co-business together is thriving, but you're really kind of, it seems like, taking a little side road here to some of your real passion in life and how you want to help men. And so do you feel like now you're in a season where Sarah does more of your initial family business, and you're running over here running this project?
Well, I don't feel like it's really been kind of a shift for us to support each other's passions. So our main business is a vehicle. So even right here, like I believe that this bridal shop is like a vehicle for us to do what you're called to do. So then
you're next layer.
This is the layer that's funding you to go and do. And now you're actually walking out your purpose and passion. Yeah. So this is the vehicle, but it's still a passion that you actually love do. Mm-hmm. Or it's what you love to actually do.
So let me ask you, did you and Sarah ever like have this big moment or conversation, or did it just like gradually little conversations? But do you remember a moment that you sat down and you're like, okay, really my passion is to help men, and this is I'm going to do it through motorsports? Like, did you have a moment, or did it just evolve?
Yeah, just because we were always doing this. So like I would leave an event on a Saturday, because I did give a lot of Saturdays and Fridays. It wasn't like there's always a season of building and traveling. And so like you are going to sacrifice to be able to build something together. Yeah. But then knowing on the backside, so if it's either lake time or going to the mountains or skiing, but there's always a sacrifice when you're building. Mm-hmm. So then when we actually like had the level of success where, a couple years in where we could actually, take time to be able to go do things, that was a transition. So.
And she knew your passion was motorsports. It's always. Not like she ever had to have a conversation with you. We've
always built each other up and really encourage that, because her passion is teaching. So I want to pour that on. And that's how I actually came out with my book, The Secret Garage. So
okay, let's go right there. Let's just go switch into the book. Okay, because I wanted you to talk about it. Can you show us the book? Because some people are watching on YouTube, which is so awesome. Okay, so this is Phil's book, The Secret Garage. Yep. And I can't wait to read it. He just gave it to me. I'm so lucky. So tell us what this is about.
So this is actually like a story it's not, I wrote it to me. It's chapters that are just really usable. It's like a hammer, a chisel. Like I go back into this book all the time, and I'll pick out one of my favorite chapters in here is actually like Racing to the Rescue, which is really just like a day I was driving home and there were so many things coming on. Like, it's like one of the days that we talked about when Jordan was traveling and you were back and you're trying to juggle and things.
It was so much.
But yet, like, God just spoke to you and was like, as you're coming through, he's still there. He's leading you because you're leading everyone else, even in your business. So if we have the ability to listen and really go back in and be intentional, even when we're stressed out in those moments, it's those moments. So another one in here is chapter 2, Let the Good Times Roll. That's another one that I absolutely love, marketplace ministry. So it goes back to all these moments, like even like the day that we met, even when we were in that little group and we're messing around, we're putting stuff on there, like that was a moment that that God really welded us together. And I was probably just being me and you guys were there. And then we had these like common friends. But look at what happened, because it was even in that moment. And then sometimes the weight that we're carrying, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So like that's where no matter what we're going through, and that's a really big part of your story and Jordan's story, just encouraging and going and serving. It's not going to be easy.
It isn't going to be easy.
But we got to go back to the plan all the time. So like even in racing, we always say you're only as good as the plan. I like changing the plan all the time. And my coaches don't like changing the plan. So if we do endurance racing. So our races are between 4 hours, 6 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours. And we're partnering with two to four drivers. So like if I'm driving for an hour and a half or 2.5 hours, which is a double stint and I'm getting out of the car, we only have to race as fast as we need to win in that segment. So there's multiple different teams on the track. And when we're going around, it's all about staying clean and knowing our fuel burn so that we can come in, get fuel, and stay on the track. And that's kind of like life, right? Because like if we're not out circulating laps or we're picking fights with other people that aren't even on our team,
we're going to burn through our fuel on unnecessary things.
Unnecessary things. And we're all shouldering. So like there's going to be contact here and there. But the number one most vulnerable area is the pits. So every championship is won and lost in pit lane. Speeding, penalties, making good execution. So like sometimes things are unplanned. So like I've learned so much in racing to be like, wow, if I'm offended or I'm dealing with this or I have like, like we have some pretty crazy stories in here about even like money where we had to go through some things and you're like, how am I ever going to get that breakthrough? But God always made a way at the last minute of the last hour of the last day.
Amazing. Well, and I love all your racing analogies because it's like such a sport that I'm not really accustomed to. Tell us quickly, what do you race? Like, what is your event?
We race in like NASA
for people that have no idea. Okay, so would you say NASA?
Yeah, so NASA's like Sports Car Club of America, and then so we do, it's more like club sport racing, but then now there's a bunch of different sanctioning bodies like all over the U.S. where you can do endurance racing.
And what kind of cars do you drive?
We would call them kind of like sports cars or GT cars. So pretty much cars that you would see on the road all the time. Corvettes, Audis, BMWs. Really cool cars.
It's really last night you were showing Jordan and I these videos of your garage that you have of all your cars, all your toys. Like, what would you say your favorite thing if you're not racing, just to drive around? Like, I mean, just I want to chill on a Saturday. What car are you gonna pick?
Either like a Ford Raptor or like a Porsche GT3 RS.
Okay.
Great car.
And how did you get into racing? Have you been racing forever?
No, well, we were around, like growing up in the Midwest, we were around trucks and all that. So actually we were doing truck and tractor pulling. I don't know if you guys have that out here in Colorado.
Truck and tractor pulling?
Yeah, at county fairs.
Oh my goodness. And so you've been driving into cars your whole life. Mm-hmm. So then you're saying, hey, you got to a point financially. I mean, you guys blew up and have a very successful business, and I'm impressed and amazed and inspired. And especially because you're still young, I'm like, it's amazing what you've accomplished. And I know your parents are proud. But after you get to that certain point, that's when you started to say, hey, what am I really passionate about? I want to go deeper. And do you see how you're like, okay, my interest in all these motorsports, I mean, it seems like you get to do do this a lot and chill at the garage or go on these race trips and all that stuff. But that's where you get to really connect with the men because they're doing their hobbies, the things that they love. But you're like, hey, how's it really going for you?
Exactly. So just like this is your, you're here at the bridal shop all the time and you're dressing people and you're doing that. That's your passion. Plus everywhere else that you're at in business and coaching, it's you. So you're incorporating that in every single day into really what God's called you to do. So even as now it doesn't matter if we're, doing a moto event in Colorado or Mexico or wherever we're at, we're just incorporating it. We're just being ourselves every single day and saying, hey guys, come on out. And you start to hear stories about what people are going through. So as I, grew
like,
the
what
ladder,
are the things your guys are going through that you're racing with?
People are going through things every single day, just like us.
Yes.
Yeah. Marriages. So like the traveling or, maybe you're not on the same page as far as like, what's your family mission? So then we're going to be able to have that give and take. We're going to be, executing time together or date nights together. And a lot of times I hear like, well, we don't have money for that, or it's easy for you to do that. But it has to be intentional, even when you necessarily don't have the money to do it. You don't have to have a lot of money to be intentional.
No.
So, we're going on 20 years of marriage this year, and I was voted like probably least likely to get married because I was always working.
And you made it work.
Made it work.
Yeah.
And really like the power of serving, and it doesn't mean it's easy. It means that you got to show up and be there every day, just like you are in your business, just like you are in your faith, just like you are in your finances, in your family, in all those areas. It has to be tactical.
Yeah. And I think something that I've seen, just in my limited time of knowing you guys, but just the quickness to forgive and just like being so, just leaning into, hey, no worries. I'm not going to like let that really be a thorn in my back because I love you. And we're just going to like not make that a big deal, And I think not making things a big deal when they shouldn't be.
I agree.
I mean, it's just life's
happier. We're here. Like everyone has their superpowers. Everyone has a different personality. But yet literally when we can lead and serve in our businesses, it doesn't matter. So like for years we had a roofing company. We did tons of different cell construction and always like the lowest job, if it was picking up trash or whatever it was, just make it fun. But everyone always thinks in a business that they want the best job, but yet it's always fun. I love that. I love that show, this, what is it? Undercover Boss, where you can come in and actually serve in all these other levels or just act like you don't know what's going on. But we even see, even sometimes in these businesses, the lower level jobs where you're caring for people or doing these things really matter.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's really like sometimes the higher level of what we carry, being able to go back in and really have that intention behind serving and seeing people grow. I think that's the greatest gift that we have even in our business. Because when I was in my other business, we were limited on how much we could pay people based on their role. Now it's unlimited potential. Unlimited. So as much as you want to grow and as much as you want to apply,
you can do it. Sky's the limit.
And look at how we've added this. This is something that I always said I would never do. I'm like talking in front of cameras. We're talking on stages. We're pouring into people on Saturdays. I mean, look at how far we've even grown since August.
Yeah.
Like every level we talk about, not necessarily what was the word last night that we were using. It's either plateauing or becoming complacent or really having that vision. How do we go to the next level? We have to energize ourselves because everything is out here that we can really add to our businesses or where we are in our life and how we're growing and having that intention, or we can just stay here and just kind of get through the day.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that are just trying to get through the day.
Yeah. And what would you say to them right now? They're just trying to get through the day.
I would say it's okay, but you have to make a decision to want to grow. What are you dreaming about? Because you can dream even if you're frustrated. So like, it's like choosing a class. So when you choose a class or you choose a dress, you're committed. You're going through the process. Do you feel it? Because this place is all about feel and touch. As a guy, we're like, just pick a dress and wear it. I don't understand. You look great in that dress. Why do you have to get that one or this one?
Yeah.
But if it makes you feel a certain way, that's okay. But now you're going to make a decision and you're going to rock it. You're going to own it.
Yeah. So you're saying even the people sitting there going like, hey, I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm not in the spot where I can really function in the dream.
Yep.
But you would say, keep dreaming. Because like when I look at this, even about the book, you know, it's like, hey, what is really in your heart to do? And even if it's just a little part, like start doing that, because otherwise you'll never do it.
Yeah. And it's a process. Like me and Sarah years ago, we had a podcast, but it wasn't on video. I remember her getting me on the phone. I was terrified. It's like no one's
The only time you were on the phone, Phil, is when you're doing prank calls. He was trying to teach my son last night how to do a prank.
We were trying to order pizza and IHOP at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning.
I know. I was like, okay, Phil. Okay, so but you're saying back in the day that was not your jam. You were
No, but I was good one-on-one. Like you could throw me into the room any single day and I'm going to meet people and be in my element because I feel like that's my passion is to talk to people. I mean, Sarah trying to get me out of any room is very difficult. So when we were even building our business.
So you're the person being dragged.
Yes.
Like you're not dragging her to go home. She's dragging you.
Yeah.
Okay.
She always calls me her wingman. So like I'm good at talking to people and then she's good at closing and building and systems. And that's where we're the team.
You are the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can open with anything and go in there and really like we both do care about people and just seeing people grow, seeing the potential in people. Because someone saw the potential in me. I mean, I don't
Tell me about that.
Like the education to be where I'm at, but I have learned now to plant myself and seek out to really understand the knowledge and then go apply it and put people in my life so we could actually do it.
Well, and something that's really powerful that you have is the mindset that you can figure it out.
Yeah, you can. And then you just got to be consistent.
But do you know how many people don't have the mindset, Phil? They think that, oh, I don't have the education or the experience, and those people are so much smarter. There's no way I'll ever understand this. But I feel like what I love about you guys is like, you're like, no, I don't know if I understand all these tax laws or whatever we were learning about yesterday together. But you're like, but I can at least figure it out. Like, you have the mindset breakthrough. And maybe, do you remember when that happened to you where you're just, who believed in you?
When I was young, I got made fun of a lot for asking questions. They used to call me 20 questions. That's kind of funny.
That is
like, are you done asking questions? I'd ask everyone. Like, we're at the fire department or people working in our neighborhood because we were in a new construction neighborhood. And I would just go and ask and ask and ask.
I love it.
Yeah, it was a little annoying too, but I wanted to seek to understand. So then it's like, but then now sometimes like even asking and then learning how to listen. That's another thing that I've really had to work on over the years too. Becoming a good listener and even telling myself.
Like, be quiet right now.
Be quiet and listen.
So who was it that believed in you? Do you remember?
Oh, I had a lot of people that believed in me because I mean, I grew up playing hockey and both my dad and my mom really poured in a lot. And then I think that I was kind of a byproduct of the Toronto outpouring.
Yeah.
So I got to see God move in crazy ways at a young age, and he got a hold of my heart at summer camp, but I never really we never had like a church environment where it was consistent. Our church was kind of like one of those churches that met in a school.
Okay.
And then we set up and we served. So it was a very interesting environment where we're inviting and we're doing this, but I really saw like, I had people that would speak into my life and say, you're going to do great things for God. And I'm like, okay. Like I'm splitting wood on Saturdays, filling in anywhere. Like I was always just a very hard worker.
Yes. And so
but always open.
But learning along the way. Like you guys, I feel like always did learning, whether that was reading a book or going to a conference or like growing yourself. And now you're pouring into hundreds and hundreds of people, which is amazing. I mean, thousands of people actually.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When you think about like people's story, you're like, okay, I started with no formal education. And you're saying no formal education, but you had a construction company, which a lot of people would dream of having their own company. And then now you have multiple companies. And now you're doing your big dream, which is using motorsports to spread just how much God loves people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like even in that construction business, though, I learned foundation and how good the foundation was. And really, we learned in 2005 and 6, it really talks about it in my book about in the economy, when the greatest pressure came, we didn't have the best jobs, but we had to really dream about the best jobs. So in our books, like when we were going in to sell and really pitching the dream, everyone was again, like their budgets weren't to like really spend this much on landscaping, but yet that they would always buy. So like the dresses, we have the high level, we have the mid level, we have the low level. Where are people going to always go? Man, right? You're steering them. So we did a lot of redo jobs and learn how to reverse engineer a lot of failures, even in construction. So that's how we actually got good at building a lasting product.
That's amazing.
So then even now in our life, it's like in these areas, always going back in and being good at rebuilding. So like that's really how God rebuilt me, and having that dream to say, hey, Sarah, we can pour in these areas and you can lead. So the power of actually speaking that word and who you're going to become.
Yes.
And that's huge in here as well.
I love that.
Like I would sit in the garage, I'm working on my Harley or working on a car at whatever level, and then just taking notes and then writing these little cards down, putting them on the wall, because then we saw them.
I love that.
So staying consistent. Like I take a picture. People are like, why are you taking a picture in the church? Like you're walking in the door in the back of your room where you have the goals up and you're seeing them. When you see them, you're actually now focused on doing that, even subconsciously.
Yeah.
This is who I'm going to become.
Absolutely.
So everything else has to line up. My buying, my selling, like you're going to sell and people are going to buy whatever you have.
That's right.
Because you're directing that. It's intention. It's not like I'm just going to get the lowest. No, we're here intentionally to serve and give you this, so your people will always rise to the top.
I love
that.
So
that's a bigger belief.
Yeah, you have to believe that. Yeah. I mean, mindset can change your outcome on anything. You know? Okay, so tell me this, because I love asking a spouse of somebody that is, working hard or whatever. What's some things that we as the wives can do that you love that Sarah does just to support you?
Yeah, I think just like your strength, Jordan's strength, my strength and Sarah's strength, like we complement each other. And it's not like she's like, you're in this room or you're doing this exact task every single day and working together like that, like we're in an office, but yet what's my strength? So really growing our finances, growing the team out, putting people in place, but yet I do have time to really be who I am and have the fun or pour into people when they're around. Like I have that time. People don't understand. Who's that kid skateboarding through the neighborhood?
It's you.
It's me. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm chilling. But yet I'm intentional in other areas, but I do it. We enjoy our life as well. Yeah. So at what point are you going to enjoy? But as you're really building and then complementing one another, there are going to be hard seasons. Not hard, but it should always be fun and light, even in the pressure as you're growing, because then you're complementing and then finding those people to be part of the team to add value too.
Yeah.
But really filling in all those gaps and really not getting offended at maybe an area where it's like, can you do that better or this and that? Like if it's not your strength. Because like for me, all of the tech stuff or everything else that we're doing might not necessarily be my strength, but my strength is organizing the entire team.
That's
so really
awesome.
that strength.
Yeah. And what is like your favorite practical, just like baseline thing does she do that's just like, oh, I love when she helps me with this or when she does this? Like, I mean, just, how do people serve each other in a daily marriage where maybe you're working together? And I mean, normally I ask the wife, like, hey, what does your husband do that really makes you feel supported? But now I'm so excited because I'm like, all my female listeners can hear, hey, what does Sarah do that's so awesome that you're like, I love that she does that?
I mean, she's so good at like just scheduling time when we're going to go and hang out. Like our schedule has been all over the place, but over the last 5 years, just really being intentional, even during the day. If I'm like, hey, let's go to lunch down here. So I'll get her and we'll go and we'll have these like awesome afternoons. We'll be cruising PCH in the Bentley. And so I get her outside her comfort zone, and then she'll like schedule times where we can go and get away and do those things. So like we're coming into each other's worlds, and I'm like, hey, let's go camping over here. So camping at a hotel for her is amazing, but really being intentional in those areas, saying like,
I love how subtly you just slid that in. Camping at a hotel is amazing.
So like, but yet, she lets me go out and do my crazy wild, like.
Yeah. What's your wildest trip that she's let you go on? I say
all my trips are crazy. It's like we do Raptor runs with like 17 trucks to Mexico, and we're sleeping in all these random places that are awesome. She'll probably do that when we have, when the kids are going to be out riding down the road, and we'll have probably a sweet motorhome in the desert. Like, it's just wild what we do out there. But she really serves me well. She really helped me. Like, I remember when I was really struggling with my book, and God will just give her a word, and we were going for a walk, and then she just poured into me she's like, I see you just writing to this story. Instead of writing in circles, write the chapters out. They might not be perfect, but then write to that. So she's very targeted and has incredible wisdom on what,
how to organize it or get that communication.
Way to get it done. Because, this was a hard thing for me to do. Like, I can build a house. I can do any sort of things underground work, asphalt, building. Anything. And it's like, I'm struggling. So when someone even was like speaking into me that I needed to write a book and it needed to be written, like when you read this book, you're going to hear my voice through the book. And then even my audiobook is me reading it.
There's an audio version?
Yeah. So we speak into each other's lives like that. And even the other day, like, God gave her a word for me. So even to be open in that, because when we're running together, sometimes we protect our hearts. But it's like, it's okay to be open.
Yeah.
It's like, like we've been, you've been married for a long time too. So when we're rolling together and we're always around each other, having that open heart for the level of intimacy, even in marriage, and being playful and growing and building, and every word matters. And just, as we're going down, just like that heart connection, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I think that it's easy to put a little bit of a barrier up when you've been hurt. But then what happens when the barrier's there is you can't receive all the goodness too that wants to come in. So the barrier protects you from the hurt, but it also blocks the love.
Yeah.
So the barrier has to be like considerably, obviously careful with who I'm talking about, but with your spouse, that barrier has to be somewhat down, because if you're trying to protect yourself all the time, you're missing out on the times when that person wants to show you love or wants to speak into you or encourage you, because it's blocking the good stuff. So I think that's really, really true. Okay. So, if this was Saturday, it is Saturday, but if it was Saturday in your hometown, what would you be doing today, Phil? Because I think you just have the most interesting kind of like passions and hobbies.
Saturdays are usually kind of like we do a lot of stuff with the family, so they might be a little slower, but we have one of the top car shows in America that's right at the San Clemente outlets, called Cars and Coffee. So I think it's a Cars and Coffee brand. There's another one in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
But the level of cars at this show, I mean, we're talking like $100 million worth of cars.
Wow.
Some are brought in on flatbed tow trucks. I mean, Bugattis and
you just walk around and look at those.
Porsches. Oh yeah, one of ones. Like, it's just wild. So we'll go walk around there. Sarah might chill, or we might go together, get a coffee, and we're gonna come back and
then what's happening Saturday night at your garage, and who's all there?
Yeah, so Saturday night it could be like all of our buddies and our kids, and
you have a lot of kids amongst all your friends.
We do have a lot of kids.
Yes, not necessarily you and Sarah personally, but all those friends getting together, hanging out in your garage, and you just let all the friends just hang out on the toys and a little campfire or whatever.
Yeah, we love tailgating, so that's like my love language. Everywhere we go, if we're rolling in with a trailer or trucks, it's like we live outside every day. So we can just pull up our truck to the beach, have a campfire, run RC cars, we're surfing, grilling. Like, it is a pretty crazy, lifestyle to be out there. Like, God, when he put on my heart to actually even be out there, it's amazing. It's like he's opening up these new worlds. So we might not always know the full entire picture of our life, but when you say yes to where he has you to serve, and you're serving the people that you're going to be around, he's opening up worlds to you. Like, I mean, I love being on your property. It's so peaceful, and God has you like right there on the top of the hill, and look at all the different angles. You probably are walking through different rooms or different parts of your yard, and then you just feel like, wow, this was a gift to you.
Uh-huh.
And even how you get to serve people and be intentional, or now we're in the Wellspring. We can even talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like so wild, but yet you're like so busy in all these other areas, but God's like, hey, I want to bless you in these other areas. I want to call you to this higher standard. I want to give you a new mantle. I want to make it easy because you're carrying so much, you're doing so much, but yet you don't necessarily have to because you have a team that you can rely on.
Right.
So that's like even in marriage, as we're growing together, to have that awareness and that strength, but yet really have that intentional schedule to be like, there's going to be times that you're going to have to be on the phone. Jordan's going to be off the phone. He's going to be everywhere. You're going to be doing these podcasts or whatever that is. But then also too, really having that awareness to really be around your house and just chill.
Yeah.
It's like, even when you're around here, you're pouring in. It's like, it's that lifestyle.
I love that. And what did you wanted to mention something about when we were talking about the guard being up?
Yeah, you have gifts for him. He has gifts for you, and we all have gifts for one another. So like the way that Sarah pours into me, she's always calling me to that higher standard. And then I'm always pouring into her and serving her in these other areas. So like sometimes our love languages are completely different. Where if it's like, if hers are words of affirmation or acts of service, like really being aware of that, listening. So her love language and gifts might not be my strength. So I got to walk in that.
Because you care about her.
Yeah.
And you want to make her feel loved.
How God's really grown us. So even the other day, like we were on one of our group calls, and then she came in and was like, hey, I just see like God pouring out this entire plan for what he has for you. Cause I know that God's really called me to even do a podcast in the shop, in the secret garage. And I'm on another call right now. We call it the pit stop business call, but yet we're there. Cause I think one of the greatest, coolest things in the world, not greatest, but like really cool, is the F1 pit stop. Cause it's so fast. It's like 1.6 seconds of 35 people changing tires on this car.
1.6 seconds.
It is an art. Now they have that on, I think it's on Netflix, the F1 series, so you can see it. It's one of the most crazy choreographed things in the world.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But everyone knows what they're doing.
Yes.
So
you're like, so why don't we have that intentionality with our marriage, with our family, with like intentionality, like this is how the week's going to look, and this is when we're going to rest or hang or have connection time or be with our kids. So imagine if we were that dialed in.
Yeah. And then another area, I'll just drop this too, because I am all over the place and love the party and love everything else, but we're a little different. So I
think you're an Enneagram 7. He doesn't know for sure, but in my friendship with you, I'm like, you are so like, what do you guys want to do that right now? Like, let's go.
But even as we're growing and scaling, allowing each other to either have that recharge time and that awareness. So it's like, wow. So if I recharge around people, she'll really pour that into me. Or if she needs to recharge, where I'm going to take her out and really pour into her and go shopping or go to Rodeo Drive and do lunches and everything else, I know that she needs that. So really doing that so that she can be at her best and I can be at my best. So it's like, yeah, I want to drive 350 miles north to Laguna Seca and then go drive on a track and then drive home the next day or do these crazy things. I recharge doing that. So she lets me really like do the things that she knows that are passionate for me. And then we support one another and have that, always calling one another that higher standard.
I love that. So what are you most excited about this year, you think, in your next season as you guys are calling each other up?
I'm just really passionate to see her grow with her online university and just seeing her passion to pour into all these, incredible men and women that really have a desire to grow and serve their communities.
Yeah.
So like even today when we're going around everywhere, I was talking to some of your girls in the back that I was meeting. I was like, isn't it crazy? Like we're here today, even though it doesn't matter what we're doing, all we do is serve people.
Absolutely.
So serve them well. And I think a lot of times, like even in these groups, we don't know how to serve everyone to the capacity. So we're able to build teams out that have a touch point to really serve our clients and have that awareness. Because sometimes we're going to get our clients on maybe their bad day. So now we have the ability to serve them through that and open up a conversation you know, and have that awareness because people are going through a lot right now. We're in another economy crunch. People are struggling. So an extra $200 to $500 a month is a lot of money.
Yeah. It can change your life.
Yeah. I mean, even $50.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, can I take you out? We could go to Applebee's for $50.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the other things.
Maybe the only place for $50. But
yeah, maybe the only place, but it's like you get free chicken and a drink, or you get free shrimp on Fridays. With
my
your
manager loves Applebee's, and we all cringe when we're like, no.
Applebee's on a date night. I love country.
Anyways, no, I love it. Well, gosh. Okay, so what are you excited about this year? You're about to say.
I mean, I'm just so excited as we are just having that vision to really open up and serve our communities well. So, you know, I did the Men on a Mission retreats, but now I feel like I'm going to start my podcast, really be intentional about growing these groups and just be here.
Yeah, so, like be in the moment with that person you're with, killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
be in the moment. And as really all these different doors open, go inside, see what's in there for me and just serve in all these areas and just be me.
Yeah.
It's okay to be me. So,
well, I love that you're talking about that because I think so many people think, oh, am I supposed to be more like this person? Or if I want that success, I mean, even if somebody had your same success in the same industry as you, they're not going to be like you.
No,
you're going to be totally different. And you got to just totally feel comfortable in who God made you because then you really will. I feel like you'll pass through so many obstacles because you're like, hey, I'm actually just being the best version of myself. I can't be like Phil or even like Sarah, even though we have a lot in common. I can't be just like you guys because that's not who I am. Right. And so, but I love how successful you can be, just as successful or if not more, because you're just so comfortable with, hey, your approach is relationships, is getting to know these guys. Like, it's just no agenda. It's just like loving on them at the tracks with all these fun, you know, vehicles and connecting on a level that maybe no other guy has connected with them about, you know? Yeah. And I think that's really cool because it's a place they feel comfortable and it's where you love to be too.
Yeah. And you start to hear stories. I mean, that, you know, families have gone through a lot. Like, I mean, even what your family went through with your son.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are people that were around you that really supported you, but there were nights that you couldn't even think about how you're going to make it through. Like,
oh, sure.
Out of body experiences almost.
Yeah.
Where you're like, but yet God came through and it's an incredible testimony. But think about the people that were able to serve in that awareness.
Yeah.
Around that. You know, people are losing their homes right now or making other decisions and, you know, all of the emotions that we're dealing with. But that if we can be consistent in these other areas, there always is a way out.
Yeah.
If we can make a decision today, if we can show up today, you know, like it's very difficult sometimes in these moments to say, well, you can do it. You have money. You can dream. You can do this. But it always wasn't that way. You made a decision.
Yeah. Before the success, before the money was in the bank account, you made the decision to say, hey, like I'm going to be the best, you know, or I'm going to set out to do this. And it's a choice every single day. I love that. I love that. Okay. So I want to ask people, where can they find you on Instagram or whatever, if they want to be like, hey, I want to talk to that guy more. Maybe I want to hear what kind of cars he has, or what's his latest take on the best electric bike, or
we do have a lot of electric things.
I know you have a lot of electric things, and then you got the boats, you got the cars, and if somebody's just like, I just want to talk shop with this guy, or anything, like where are you at on Instagram?
You can find me at Phil Robbins 1.
Phil Robbins 1.
Yep. PhilRobbins 1.
Okay.
Or philrobbins.com. You can get my book there. Amazon.
I love it. But guys, seriously, this book, I want to read it. I want to give it to some people too, because I think that it's a marketplace, you know, lessons in giving. What's the D28 zone?
That's just like declaring God's word over your life and over your business.
All right.
It's promises. So what are the promises that God's really given you even in here? Because your level of inspiration, like you heard everyone screaming a minute ago, that was your team pouring into one another and getting ready and excited to serve. And that's directly because of you and your passion and vision.
Thank you.
So like that's D28.
That's D28, baby.
Yeah, so we could, your barns will be filled to overflowing.
I love that.
In every area. You're going to be able to serve in it doesn't matter what the economy's doing out there.
Yeah.
We're going to grow. We're going to flourish. And now what you're going to be doing all over the United States in helping people, entrepreneurs, turn around companies, pour in wisdom, give those nuggets. Oh, it's going to be so amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Your obedience, I always say, is tied to someone else's breakthrough. But yeah, it's going to be so much fun for you to do that. And then to see people grow, how amazing.
It's so rewarding.
You get to fly in and turn someone's life around. It's literally amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it could also happen just as casually as like sitting in the garage, and believing in them and encouraging them. And I'm thinking of how many of us might have that huge difference between, because most life change happens around the kitchen table, right?
Totally.
We've seen that in our own houses. And it's just like having that real relationship moment, but saying like, hey, actually, I believe in something pretty incredible with you. What are you looking at? What are you looking at, Phil? He's looking at something behind me in this.
How can we be in a glass building? Like I walk in and everyone's moving around.
And you're like, this is happening. You're about to see a huge rush of brides and stuff come through our door. It's going to be awesome.
This is such a cool spot. It's like open and looking at the mountains. Pikes Peak. I've always wanted to race Pikes Peak. I don't know if you can put in a good word.
Oh, is it hard to get? I don't know anybody.
It's very hard to get in.
Only certain people get to be in that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't realize that.
We could like wrap the car with all the bridal, logos and everything else and rally out there. It'd be cool.
It'd be so cool. Okay, well, we'll have to maybe put a pin in that. Okay, so let's talk about your favorite drink, because that's the how I love to end my show, is to have you introduce me to your favorite drink. What is it today?
Well, I love coffee. I love a good Americano, and me and Jordan went over to Loyal Coffee.
Who did not sponsor this
They did not sponsor this, and it is.
And you got just an Americano with no cream, nothing?
No, I had a little splash of cream.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, cheers.
Cheers.
I love to celebrate with my guests on the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Are you kidding? It's so good to have you all the way from SoCal.
All the way from SoCal.
And
it's just like...
It's just hanging out.
Just hanging.
Yep, hanging out and talking about what really matters.
And just seeing everyone that really comes on here, hopefully that they're inspired to say, today I can grow in at least one area, even if it's only one.
Yes.
And it's like I can write down something that I can look at. I can speak words over. I can show up for my employees. I can show up for my spouse. I can show up for my kids. I can create, because really all we're doing creating every single day are heart connections, heart strings.
Yes.
Because we can communicate in our mind, but when we communicate with our hearts, unstoppable.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Because that's such a missing piece of human interaction.
Yep.
And when you show up really like caring to connect with someone, it's powerful.
And you'll see people grow.
Yeah.
And you're making people's days out here.
Totally.
Like they live for that. Like as guys, we don't necessarily live for that. We love our cars and our bikes. But when we go in and like get a new dirt bike, it's like going on a bridal stop. I can't even say it. Bridal shop.
Yeah, to go get your dirt bike.
Yeah. We don't just want a stock dirt bike. We want like wheels, tires, stickers. Like we want to customize our bike. So I get it. Like you guys want every little thing.
Yes.
We do too. We need rims on our trucks.
Yes.
We want everything upfitted, upsell.
Yes.
So
you're
it's
like, give me the best.
We want the shoes, the bag.
I love it. You're like, no budget. Give me the best thing in this showroom.
Yeah. The best tires.
I love it.
So it's the same thing.
So true.
So like added value. And then I think that's what you're really doing. You're adding value in all these areas to people so they can walk out their best life. There's nothing that is hindering from someone's life other than believing that they can actually walk into the future with added benefits.
True.
So grateful for you and your family.
I'm so thankful for you guys. I can't wait till we hang out again.
Can't wait.
It's going to be good.
We'll be out here.
I was going to tell you guys, make sure you subscribe, comment, like below, because we would love for you to give us some feedback on our episodes and for you to be a part of our community of people growing together and learning how to live a life worth celebrating. See you guys next time.
God bless you guys.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the show, rate, review, and share with a friend. Also, follow The Something New Show on Instagram and Facebook. If you want a fuller experience, watch the show on YouTube to help you create a life worth celebrating.